Well, hello, Tidewater Region. Welcome back for the 2020-2021 school year. I am excited to be supporting you and walking you through our Virginia Future Business Leaders of America Tidewater Region this year. My name is Teresa Doherty, and I am the coordinator for Business and Information Technology programs with Virginia Beach City Public Schools. And it is my very great honor to step into the role as regional director after Jane Blyler has dedicated 27 years to the Tidewater region. We are so grateful to her for her leadership, for her knowledge, for her grace and flexibility. And I look forward to working with her as we make that transition from her into her retirement and again, my stepping into that role. So I thought I'd try something a little bit different this year for our fall regional announcement. So we'll give it a try. I know Bitmojis have been really big this year, and I was kind of excited to try it. So we'll see how this goes. So rather than getting your traditional memo that you usually get, what I'm doing instead is providing you a Bitmoji classroom that has live links, and those will be static, so you'll be able to go back and review those. In addition, this meeting will be uploaded onto my YouTube channel that I use for trainings for business and information technology programs here in Virginia Beach. And it's just a nice way to be able to kind of reference back the things, especially as we're getting started in the school year. Things have been super crazy, and I know that a lot of this has been baptism by fire for all of you teachers. So this way you can kind of look at it when it's convenient for you, go back to it when you need to. And of course, I'm always here to support you. So one of the first things I wanted to do was talk a little bit about the Fall Regional Conference this year. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and click on the links that I have listed in the Bitmoji, and that's gonna take us out to the different websites that I've got. So hopefully we will be able to do this. All right, so the Fall Regional Conference, of course, the way we traditionally know it, is not something that will be happening this year simply because none of us really have the capacity to get together. Most of our divisions, our school divisions, have some limitations on that right now, and so it was just something that we opted to set to the side for this year. Instead, what I am suggesting is that you talk to your students and consider attending the Learn to Lead virtual leadership journey that's taking place in October. Usually our Fall Regional Conference takes place in October anyway, so it's very timely, and it'll be taking place on a Saturday, so there's no need to take any time off of work, or there shouldn't be any complications with that with the student schedules. So it's taking place Saturday, October 17th, and it'll be for us 10 o'clock in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. So nice little chunk of the day, still give you time to get up and get your day started, and you still have plenty left in the afternoon. And the cool part about this Learn to Lead, I thought was kind of cool, is that this is actually a collaboration between the North Dakota FBLA state group and the Virginia FBLA state group. So I thought this was a really great example of our leadership and our ownership of professional development at work. So I thought that was really kind of a neat thing. There looks to be a lot of music that's woven through here in addition to the sessions that are being offered. I absolutely think this is going to be a worthwhile endeavor. I've never been to one of these before, so I'll be really interested to see how all of this is going to work. But essentially, they're going to have 3 different leadership sessions, and then the Blue Blazer briefings, which if you have been around FBLA at for any length of time, you're familiar with those. And then there are going to be some regional rallies. So there will be a Tidewater region rally and different regional rallies for each of the areas. And then at the end, everybody's going to come back together, and they're going to do a closing session. So they're going to have the big opening session, session, they'll have their leadership sessions and so on, and then they're going to have a closing session with Tiger Lily. And I thought that was kind of neat too. I don't know if any of your students might be familiar with Tiger Lily, but they were actually former FBLA members as well. So I love that tie there. There is a cost for the registration for this. It is pretty nominal. And that's something that like I said, I would encourage you to consider. The way that they've set up the cost for this as well is tiered. So the more folks you have going, the less expensive it is per person. And I'm going to scroll down here to see if I can get you. Okay. So you should be looking at the registration for the conference, and what you should be looking at is the 1 to 5 FBLA members is $40. So that's not $40 per person. That's up to 5 people is a total of $40. So if one person goes, it's $40. If 5 people go, it's $40. And then you'll notice that just kind of continues down here. So essentially what happens is, I think the most you would pay per person, I think, is $8. And then the least you might pay per person is $5. And that's if you have over 50 FBLA members attending. Now, I will say these registrations are done by chapter. So it's not something that I can go in and register everybody for so that we can get a group discount. Trust me, I tried. You're actually going to have to register by chapter. The nice part, though, is that your registration fee actually goes as, it counts as your contribution toward the FBLA Foundation. So I thought that was, at the very least, you were getting a 2 for there. So something to consider. Fall Regional Conference, a Learn to Lead conference instead. I really think that's going to be something kind of cool for you and for your students. So the next thing that I want to jump to are the regional dues. And the reason that I wanted to jump to this is because it may impact the attendance at your Learn to Lead conference if you decide that you're going to do that. Now, what I've linked this to is the Mills memo, which if you are an advisor, that should be coming in your inbox. So you could probably poke through your inbox and find this, but I also have it linked here. Because we're not having the typical fall regional conference like we usually do, we're not having to buy snacks or pay custodians or make reservations for anything. And so I didn't see the need for us to charge regional dues like we typically do. I know usually it's about $75 per chapter for our high school level and about $30 per chapter for our middle school level. So those will not be charged this year. Instead, the only thing the students would be responsible for paying would be their state and national dues. And that's so that they're eligible to compete at a state and national level. And I think the total for high school students would be $10. I think it's $4 for our state dues and $6 for our national dues. And those just get paid together. And then I think it's $7.50 for our middle school students. So that's the only thing that the students would be responsible for paying if they wanted to compete as an FBLA member. Now, having said that, I know that we have some challenges in place right now where a few of you in your division may not be collecting money from students. You might not be collecting dues from students. And so what Virginia FBLA has done is set up a way for students to pay directly or for their parents to pay directly. So if you are collecting dues, then go ahead and do that the way you usually do, and you can go ahead and pay it the way you typically do and get the check from your bookkeeper and so on. If, however, your group, your school, I know sometimes it's even site-based, is not doing that, there are instructions that students and parents can use to pay those dues directly. And like I said, that would just be for the $10. That's not for anything else because we're not going to collect any regional dues this year. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that I provided that for you so that you have that link. I think it makes it a little bit more convenient. But like I said, all of this stuff is in those Mills memos, so nice for you. All right, the next thing that I want to jump to is the Virginia FBLA state website. And this is something that if you've been with FBLA for any length of time, you should be familiar with. There's a ton of information that's in here and it's all useful. The idea is that it's a one-stop shop and you're able to obtain everything that you need in one place. There was a revamp to the website a year or so ago, and it's just so much easier to navigate now. If you haven't done so already, take a little bit of time to poke around and see what's available. Maybe there are some things you'll find that are tools that you didn't even realize were available to you. I think it's definitely worth your time. So one of the things that I wanted to point out on this website was this Mills memo sign up. So you're going to notice I'm going to refer back to those Mills memos a couple of times. And I know that you all have been inundated with emails and phone calls and texts and all of those things. And this may even be something that just kind of seems like background noise right now. But the Mills memo is really your go-to for all of the pertinent information that you're going to need and that your members of your chapter are going to need as we move through this school year. So if you haven't signed up for it already, here's where you can sign up for it. You just go right to our state website. If you are already signed up for it, you might want to consider creating a folder in your email so that even if you don't have time to read it right at that time when it comes in, you can set it in that folder and go back to it when you're ready, because a lot of great information is in there, and most of the time the answers that you're looking for, that's where you're going to find them. So that's something that that you may want to consider doing. We are going to come back to this state website here shortly, so I'm going to leave it at that for now, but you'll notice that there are several different places to go across the top. And again, it's up to you how much time you want to spend on that. I really like to think of these things as resources. So, you know, you reference back to it as you need it and as we move through the year. All right, modified competitive events. We do have some modifications and some changes. And rather than going over those specifically, what I'm going to do is direct you to the website, and this is the national website that it actually links out to, and that way everything is accurate. So any changes that are being made, you're receiving those changes in live time because you have the link directly to the website rather than me PDFing it or something like that, and then it becomes this static document. So you notice a couple of things are emerging. Business issues has retired. We do have some things that have been renamed, items that have been added. I think our hospitality got the event component added to it. So lots of fun stuff in here. Certainly worth taking a look at and talking to your students about. I think there's some good stuff in here that they would be interested in. And if you are not sure how all of this is supposed to tie together to your class, you can either talk to one of the more veteran advisors. I'm happy to chat with you, and you can even go to our website, the CTU resource website, and that will kind of show you how all of this ties together. But the idea is that all of this, I've always called it co-curricular, but if we're going to be really accurate, it's intra-curricular, meaning that all of these things, these competitive events that our students are doing, the projects that they're doing for FBLA, all of these competencies are within what's already being taught in the class. So this is not above and beyond, it's not anything different. And it's worth taking a look at some of these things so that you can integrate them into your course without having to create extra work. So if your students are going to have to create a spreadsheet anyway, or if they're going to have to make a presentation anyway, this is a really great way to get them to complete or compete in an event, complete an assignment or a project for you, during your school or during your class, and gain those competencies that they were going to have to earn anyway. So anyway, just something to consider. All right. Speaking of those rating sheets and the guidelines, if you're looking for a complete listing, I put those here as well. And this is what I would say is a really great place to start when you're thinking about using something like this for your classroom. So for example, I think this introduction to business, I want to show you a couple of them actually. So this is the basic information about this competitive event. You'll notice that this one is a test because we have the performance events and then we have the test, the events that are test. It gives you, for the ones that are the test, it gives you the competencies right up here and who's eligible and just kind of how all of that works. So, and also, if you're on our CTE website where all of our competencies are housed, it's going to tell you which courses this is going to be most appropriate for. So if you are teaching accounting or if you're teaching computer information systems, if you go down there to the events section, it'll say, hey, introduction to business. This would be a good spot to plug this in because it aligns with the competencies for the course. So that's just something to think about. Okay, I did want to show you a performance event though. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So the business plan is a performance event. You'll notice it still offers you some guidelines, how everything is reported. Because it's a performance event, there's some presentation procedure that goes along with it. But the part that I wanted to point out that's a little bit different from what you see with the test is the rating sheet. So because the objective tests are just being graded as is, they don't have a rating sheet per se, but this does. So I'm going to see if I can open it up so I can show you what this looks like, and hopefully you're able to see all of this and you're not just, we seem to be running into a little bit of an issue. Technology. Okay. Well, maybe I'll come back and show that to you later. But anyway, there are rating sheets. And my thought is with the rating sheet, it's really easy for you to create a rubric that will help your students be successful, not only with, understanding the competencies and being able to synthesize that information and apply it in the classroom, but also it's great preparation for the actual competition. So they become very comfortable with the material. They know what to expect. Nothing is a surprise. So definitely something to consider. I know I keep saying that. Y'all have lots to consider. All right, let's head on back here. So if you are a new advisor, you'll notice we came right back to that state website. And what I did is I linked this over to the resources. So remember I was talking about those tabs at the very top. This is just under the resources tab. And there's a lot of stuff that is under here, not just for new advisors, but for lots of different things. The thing that I wanted to mention for my new advisors though was that under the advisors and professionals, there are a couple of things you may want to take a look at. One would be the new advisor guide, and the other would be the top 10 tips for new advisors. I think that those are both really helpful, and I think that would be a good place for you to start if you maybe are new to the FBLA advisor game altogether, or if you've been away for a while, or you're trying to reinstate a chapter at your school. Those are two really good places to start. And of course, I'm always happy to help you. Sandy Mills at the state is always happy to help you. And then there's a ton of other information in here too. The fundraising ideas that's a really good one, and membership motivators, I think you're probably going to need for sure this year. So probably worth taking a look just to get you started, or maybe even refresh. So speaking of advisors, I know we usually have some type of advisor in service in the fall, and that has been replaced with scheduled meetings and a town hall. So I linked this over to Again, one of the Mills memos, so you may have already received this in your inbox, it depends. But these meetings, the advisor in service is being replaced with two different components. The first would be individual meetings with Sandy Mills, and you can schedule those based on whatever your availability is and her availability is. So that makes it kind of nice. So as you have questions and things, you can schedule as many of those as you like. And then the second part are the town halls. And the town halls actually started last month in August. It's September this month, but you can be notified of those. And each town hall has a different topic. So you'll notice the one in August was on recruitment. So this I wanted to make sure that you had. Additionally, you'll notice there is an advisor guide, and this was for last month and this month. And all it does is link out to a Google Doc. And I'm going to click on that just so you can kind of see what's in here. So this was put together really to help you get started with the school year. And I would say read it at your own leisure. If you find some things that are helpful in there, then you can incorporate them. You do not have to incorporate everything all at once. The goal for all of this is not to overwhelm you, and certainly it's not to make you feel like this is some sort of Herculean task that is beyond what you typically do in the classroom. The entire goal in all of this is, one, to inspire our students to continue their own journey down business and leadership. And professional development, continuing education is a big part of that. We know that as educators, and that's something that we want to instill in our business and IT students as well. But two, there is a constant battle to ensure that the students and the administrators and the rest of the industry folks who partner with us really see the value of what we're doing in the classroom and how it directly ties to what we're trying to prepare our students to do in the real world. So all of this, that intracurricular component, that part that says these competencies are directly aligned with the competitions, with the program of work that we're providing, all of that, this is what this is intended to do is to help you do that. So there might be pieces that are helpful to you. All of this might seem like it's just Greek to you, and that's where we're here to help. So anyway, you'll notice inside this Google document there are links to other Google Docs. So basically it's just one big document that's got a lot of different information and samples and things in there, and all of that is for your benefit. Chapter reporting is next on the list. You'll notice we're right back at that resources section on our state website, and the chapter reporting is just right down here. So all the information that you need right here, due dates right here. I would encourage you to put those on your calendar. I find it's really helpful for me if as I get to a due date, on my calendar, my work calendar, I push that due date forward another year. That way I know when it gets to that point in time the following year, I kind of know what I'm supposed to be looking at or looking for. And maybe that's something that would be helpful for you too. But I know that the chapter reporting changed recently. I think last year it did, but the nice part is all the links are right on here. And as long as you've got them uploaded by the right date, I think February 15th, right down here in our state leadership conference, then you are doing okay. I wanted to make a note of this, the local and regional officer training. This is something that the state officers worked on this summer, and I thought it was such a fantastic idea. I would love to see the Tidewater region participate in this, especially because it can't do anything but grow our students. So you'll notice that the sessions start this month in September, and each of them will have a different focus. The topic or the module is going to have a different focus. So a lot of it, of course, is that workplace readiness falls in there very, very nicely. But then there are a few other things like the decision making and the goal planning and the networking and so on. So that's something that I want you to be aware of. You'll notice that this Mills memo says stay tuned for dates and times. So that's something that should be coming out in a future Mills memo. I would say since we're starting in September, you'll probably see one this week. And also the nice part is that all those sessions are going to be recorded and posted to the YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed to the Virginia FBLA YouTube channel, this would be a really great time to do that. Last but not least, I wanted to make sure you had a link to our national FBLA website. There's just a wealth of information here. Just keep in mind that this is information that is being provided on a national level. So if you're looking for something, some guidance on something that's a little more specific to the Commonwealth of Virginia, you can always ask Sandy Mills, or you can ask me, and even if I don't have the answer, we'll get the answer for you. But I did want to point this out since there's information on how you can start a chapter, how you manage your chapter, and there are just good resources that are up here. They've got webinars. If you're looking for logos, you're trying to add stuff to things that you're putting out or that you're posting, that information is there. So I wanted to make sure that you had access to that and you kind of knew where to find it. And the last thing I wanted to show you on here were the links to some of our Virginia FBLA social media platforms. So if you aren't already following some of these, I would encourage you to take a peek and see what's out there. So for example, this is the Facebook for our Virginia FBLA. Fun things are always being posted out here, great reminders, things that you could download to help with your own classroom. And then the other thing that is in here are the Mills memos. So I'm looking to see if I can find the latest one. Here they are. Okay, so there are links in here. So every time Virginia FBLA sends out a new Mills memo, they also post it here on their webs or on their Facebook page. So just so that you know, it's another way to keep track of stuff. If you can't find something, you can always come back here and find it. So I hope that this has been useful for you. I really look forward to working with all of you this year. I hope it is a wonderful, wonderful first week of school for you. Just take a deep breath. We're all in it together. I promise it'll be okay. And I look forward to getting together with you soon.